We start this week's edition of Africa Focus on a somber note. About 157 villages in the West African state of Mali have been confirmed as dead after unknown gunmen attacked them last Saturday. And in Burundi, 3 schoolgirls arrested over scribbling over President Pierre Nkurunziza's portrait have been released by officials. This is Africa Focus. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the program, let's take a look at the stories in store.
President Ali Bongo returns to Gabon after a long stay abroad due to illness. Fighting for recognition, Morocco's hidden Christians see Pope Strip as a chance to push for freedom. Artwork on African mysticism showcases at a London gallery.
I'm Lenny Rashid, and our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. Before we get into the main stories, let's take a look at the news that made the headlines around the continent.
Moroccan police used water cannons to disperse thousands of young teachers protesting in the capital Rabat for better work conditions. Authorities were trying to end a rally of an estimated 15,000 teachers in front of Parliament when they planned to spend the night ahead of an even bigger demonstration called by a coalition of leftist opposition parties, unions and civil society groups. Some teachers said they were protesting against contracts on which they have been hired. They are demanding full benefits and pensions like regular public servants. Teachers across the country have been striking for 3 weeks in a row. Of the country's 240,000 strong teacher workforce, 55,000 have been hired since 2016 under a new contract system. Morocco has come under pressure from international lenders to trim the civil service wage bill and strengthen the efficiency of the public sector. Polls opened on Sunday in the tiny archipelago of Comoros, with President Azali Assoumani widely expected to win a new term in an election that rivals say has been hijacked. Some 300,000 voters are expected to turn out, with polling stations opening at 8 a.m. The Supreme Court has barred the bid of some of Azali's major rivals, including former President Ahmed Abdallah Sambi, accused of corruption. In a pre-election visit to Ajuan, Azali oozed confidence and burst out laughing when asked about defeat. The mainly Muslim Indian Ocean archipelago of some 800,000 people is one of the world's poorest and most coup-prone states. It has suffered more than 20 successful or attempted power grabs since gaining independence from France in 1975. Its first leader, Ahmed Abdallah, lasted barely a month before being ousted. Aid was streaming into Mozambique on Sunday from Turkey, Morocco, South Africa and other countries to help survivors of Cyclone Idai. Beira Airport was teaming with military, government and private planes, ferrying food and equipment to affected areas to try and reach remote locations. A main road between Beira and Kaya to the north has reopened and flood waters are receding, but lack of access for almost 10 days has left thousands in need. Cyclone Idai lashed the Mozambican port city of Beira with winds of up to 170 kilometers per hour, then moved inland to Zimbabwe and Malawi, flattening buildings and putting the lives of millions at risk. Hundreds of Algerians waving their national flag and chanting popular songs protested at the Place de la République in Paris on Sunday, demanding President Abdelaziz Bouteflika to step down. The protesters have been mobilizing every weekend since February, supporting the popular movement in Algeria, calling for change. The 82-year-old Bouteflika has rarely been seen in public since suffering from a stroke in 2013, brought to the protesters last week by reversing plans to seek re-election for a 5th term. But he stopped short of quitting as head of state and said he will stay on until a new constitution is adopted. The move further enraged Algerians, and many of his allies have turned against him.
5 months after suffering a stroke, President Ali Bongo Ondimba returned to Gabon from Morocco, where he had gone to seek treatment. 60-year-old Bongo was taken ill in October while visiting Saudi Arabia. Since then, he has returned to Gabon only twice, staying less than 48 hours each time. Although the government has insisted that he is in good shape, his prolonged absence has stoked concern about a power vacuum, even sparking a brief attempted coup by renegade soldiers on the 7th of January.
President Ali Bongo Ondimba flew home to Gabon after several months in Morocco, recovering from illness. He flew back into Libreville, accompanied by his wife Sylvia, and was welcomed by Prime Minister Julian Bekali and senior members of the government. Several thousand people also turned out at the airport to greet the president after the ruling Democratic Party announced his return and called for a warm reception. They were marshaled by a strong police presence.
It is true that he came and went, but he was far away for a long time, and I think he will first see the current situation and change many things.
Bongo, walking slowly with the aid of a stick, raised first one arm and then the other to greet the crowd.
I saw it well. It is beautiful and alive. All those who spoke that Ali is dead, that Ali no longer lives, they have failed because our president is back and fit.
Since he suffered a stroke on October 24 while visiting Saudi Arabia, Bongo had previously only been back to Gabon for 2 brief visits.
We think that today we will return to appease all the Gabonese classes, especially at the political level. We will no longer talk about power vacancies. We will no longer talk about the destitution of the institutions of the republic, whether it is the opposition or the majority.
His prolonged absence stoked concern about power vacuum, apparently sparking a brief attempted coup by renegade soldiers on January 7th. Bongo took office after an election in 2009 that followed the death of his father, former President Omar Bongo, who took office in 1967.
Moroccan converts to Christianity are looking to Pope Francis's visit this week as a chance to press their demands for religious freedom and tolerance. The Pope will spend 2 days in Rabat on his first trip to the North African country. This is the first visit there by any Pope in nearly 35 years. Although predominantly Muslim, Morocco has about 30 to 35,000 Catholic devotees.
Christians are a tiny minority in an overwhelmingly Muslim country, and the pontiff will spend time with Roman Catholics, most of them expatriate Europeans, mainly from France, the sub-Saharan African migrants who are free to worship in churches such as the capital's Art Deco St. Peter's Cathedral.
When I went to a Christian church to worship, I was told they could not recognize me officially because I converted to Christianity for a legal reason, because the Moroccan state does not recognize Moroccan citizens who convert to a new religion, which is alien to the Islamic society in which we live.
But unlike the foreign Christians, Moroccan converts to Christianity say they are forced to worship in secret. Conversion from Islam to Christianity is banned, as it is in many Muslim countries. Proselytizing is punishable up to 3 years in prison.
One day, someone could kill me. This means that you are always threatened. Even your rights are denied by the authorities. For example, I was denied my right for a legal marriage, even if my wedding was public and was seen by the international community. The authorities went further by taking my passport. All I have now is my identity card. I have a son who is 3 months old, and I can say that he has no identity now.
One group backing the converts, the Moroccan Association for Religious Rights and Freedom, has already written to the Vatican to raise its concerns, and it is planning a sit-in outside a church in Rabat on the eve of the visit.
We want the official recognition of the existence of the various faiths, and we want laws that enshrine the existence in society. We also want an end to all oppressive and illegal interventions. By legal recognition, I mean international laws that respect religious freedoms for everyone and the end of all restrictions so that religious freedom could prosper in Morocco.
There are no official statistics, but leaders say there are about 50,000 Moroccan Christians, most of them from the Protestant evangelical tradition, outnumbering the estimated 30,000 Roman Catholics in a country with a population of about 35 million people.
Grace Wells Bonner is a British fashion designer. The 28-year-old Londoner sees fashion as a means to explore ideas of identity and self-expression. Recently, she organized an art showcase on African mysticism in London, held at the Serpentine Sackler Gallery. The project was centered on uniting Africans and the diaspora. Christened A Time for New Dreams, the showcase featured Nigerian writer and poet Ben Okri.
London's Serpentine Sackler Gallery recently held an exhibition featuring artworks seeking to explore themes of mysticism, rituals, and magical resonance with Black cultural practices. A Time for New Dreams is part of an ongoing series of short-duration projects that unite Africa and the diaspora and is said to bring interdisciplinary practice into galleries.
This is desperately a time for new dreams because the old dreams, we see the results of the old dreams. We see where it's leading. We see where it has led. It's a dead-end road. A dead-end road of hatred and division, a dead-end road of the normalization of the dehumanization of people.
The show featured music, fashion, art and design by various artists who are either African or of African descent. Among participating artists was Nigerian novelist and poet Ben Okri, whose work was in the form of poems and invocations written on walls.
The themes of the continuance of culture throughout the diaspora, the things that unite us, the things that bring us together in terms of ritual practice, in terms of shrines, in terms of a kind of consciousness, a kind of raised consciousness.
Okri says we are all in need of a change of inspiration.
Grace, in this exhibition, is actually trying to re-triangulate the diaspora, to unify all these, what appears to be different elements, but actually have got great unity. And that's one of the many things that people love about this exhibition. Not only the sense of ritual, the sense of shrines.
The exhibition was curated by Grace Wells Bonner, an artist who likes to use fashion to explore ideas of identity and self-expression. The show highlighted the shrine as a symbolic pathway for exploring various worlds and possibilities.
I think I was looking at ways that different Black artists and intellectuals have addressed ideas of magic and ritual mysticism and how that can be communicated through aesthetics and the kind of sacred threads or the continuity of that conversation, how that can be formed in very different mediums.
Bonner argues that the different ways of approaching magic and mysticism connects Africans and other Black people in many countries. Even though the expression of those beliefs may be varied, she plans to take the exhibition on tour to other countries.
I'd be really excited for this exhibition to travel to Africa and to kind of return to Africa, and I've been thinking about places like Johannesburg or Ghana where I've spent time in the past and I feel have a really exciting, emerging and all-powerful connection to contemporary art, but also other places like Angola as well would be interesting.
With over 24 photographs, installations and compositions, display has given visitors a chance to appreciate various art expressions.
Coming up after the break.
Hitting the surf, sharks and surfers vie for control of the waters of Reunion Island.
We're about to pay some bills. Don't touch that dial. Keep it switched. Species of sharks. Welcome back. In case you just joined us, you're watching Africa Focus. Today's sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. Now, a species of sharks and rays in Liberia's territorial waters are feared to be going extinct and are reportedly being placed on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List. Liberia is now attempting to save the species from extinction, one fish at a time.
Judge To reflects on the good old days when catching a couple of sharks helped fill a fisherman's pocket and feed a hungry family. 15 years or so ago, local fishermen who ventured off the coast of Liberia would come back with over 200 fish in their boats. To's worry clearly portrays the dilemma facing Liberia, one of the world's poorest countries, as it seeks to protect this beautiful, endangered but often underestimated species.
We have the giant devil ray, and then we have the great hammerhead sharks. These are species that are on the red list of the IUCN. So, we begin very concerned, and then a lot of recommendations were made to the government. The government, through NAFA, they made some, good commitments that EGF should be able to prepare a national plan of action for sharks and ray in Liberia.
Each year, tens of millions of sharks and rays are hauled from the sea, typically to meet the voracious demand in East and Southeast Asia for shark fin soup or products used in traditional medicine. Experts say the plunder is having a devastating effect on the health of the sea, but protecting the species often meets resistance from fishermen who see the catch as a vital source of income. Fishing provides a livelihood to more than 30,000 people in Liberia and accounts for 2/3 of all animal protein consumed nationally. On the UN's Human Development Index, the country ranks a low of 181 out of 189 nations. The average salary is $100 per month, and many Liberians survive on just $1 a day. What's at stake in the shark and ray conservation is not just the survival of this ancient species, but supporting commercial fish stocks.
Shark feed at distance. You go 45 miles before you go border where the shark is. And the shark don't come before that. Before you okay 200, 300 shark and bring it.
Catching sharks ricochets down the food chain as big fish disseminate small fish in the absence of the apex predator.
In Reunion Island, where the number of shark attacks has skyrocketed in recent years, lovers of surfing and other water sports have to be on their guard at all times. But recent initiatives taken by the local surfing federation are seeking to ensure that people can surf in safety.
No one expected the island of Reunion to regain its reputation as a surfing and bodyboarding paradise. But wave cravers are once again practicing their sports in the once forbidden waters of the so-called Shark Island.
Really, it's a relief, being able to enjoy the ocean a bit thanks to the lookouts and surf in safety. At least you're not thinking about the sharks.
But in this French territory located in the Indian Ocean, sharks have often been a major concern. 23 attacks have been reported since 2011, 11 of which were fatal. In response, the Island Surfing Federation created a shark lookout system. It involves underwater cameras, a drone, 7 shark spotting divers, and 2 boats. In total, it's a team of 20 people working 5 days a week to secure a surfing area. And it works.
We had 3 alerts last year. There was one suspected shark attack because there was commotion underwater and apparent hunting, so we warned the surfers and evacuated the spot. And the other 2 times, it was an actual shark, a bull shark, which was outside the safety zone about 10 meters away, so we sounded the alarm and the surfers were out in 5 minutes.
There have been no shark attacks on humans in any location that the system has been operating in since it began in 2015. But some free-spirited surfers have found the rigid schedules and registration requirements too restrictive. At locations including Trabasa, people are increasingly opting to practice free surfing on unsupervised waves. They have rules of their own for staying safe.
I go in when the water is clear and there are small waves. I abide by these rules. Passion overcomes all obstacles, so I keep surfing.
But the risks are very real, prompting some surfers to turn to technology. Devices like this one create an electromagnetic field to repel sharks.
It's reassuring when there's a lot of people using it. We think that maybe it creates a wide field around us that keeps the sharks away.
Scientists are struggling to explain the dramatic increase in shark sightings on Reunion. Until they do, the surfers of this tropical paradise have taken matters into their own hands.
Kobus van der Merwe is the brains behind the award-winning WOLFGAT restaurant in Paternoster, South Africa. Despite his hotel receiving global acclaim, he is adamant that he'll keep things the way they are so as to ensure that WOLFGAT retains its authenticity. Merwe says that he was shocked to learn that his small restaurant had been shortlisted in the World Restaurants Awards alongside other well-established names.
This eatery in remote South Africa is renowned as the world's first restaurant of the year, but Chef Kobus van der Merwe insists fame will change nothing. Unlike many competitors at the Nyogro World Restaurant Awards, a 7-course tasting menu at WOLFGAT costs $60, a fraction of what one would pay at a top Paris table.
And I got to off-map destination and I saw WOLFGAT. And then I checked my emails and I was like, okay, there's actually an official communication letting us know that we've been nominated. So we had like no clue, absolutely no clue. And when I saw the other nominees in that list, I actually like had a giggle because I thought it's really just, we're so out of our league.
Van der Merwe also forages every day for ingredients on the wild Atlantic shore near his restaurant at Paternoster and makes his own bread and butter.
So we were all sort of finding our feet at the beginning in WOLFGAT. So at that stage I was in that tiny little kitchen doing all the cooking. We were all serving, so it was like we sort of figured it out together, and eventually I realized, you know, I'm going to need hands prepping. And
the restaurant's humble setting in the Western Cape and Van der Merwe's belief in sustainable, back-to-basics cooking won the hearts of judges in the French capital who named it Restaurant of the Year. However, the WOLFGAT can only feed 20 people at a sitting.
So this is not going to change anything about the scale that WOLFGAT operates on. We do what we do in the capacity that we do and on the scale that we do because that's sustainable and that's what works for us. It's a golden ratio between the amount of people we serve, what we can collect from the wild, what the team and the size of the building is comfortable with.
Van der Merwe, a former journalist, vowed not to increase prices despite his newfound fame. Diners on WOLFGAT's thatch-covered terrace are offered small dishes including Saldanha Bay mussels, served with cauliflower and dune celery alongside bream, presented with sorghum, snorkro and wild sage. But for all of the rugged allure of his remote Seaview eatery, Van der Merwe does face challenges not experienced by leading chefs in major cities elsewhere.
Sometimes it's like cooking in a disaster area. We have power, we have a load shedding and no water because the local reservoirs run out. So those are challenges that we just have to work around, but it sort of makes you creative. So then we just cook the bread in the fire, and I mean often guests walk in and they're like, they want to switch on the bathroom light. I'm like, sorry, we have no power, and they don't even realize.
So the next time you are in Paternoster, make sure you book a table at the WOLFGAT, South Africa's Restaurant of the Year, and you might enjoy its world-famous cuisine at very affordable prices.
Sugarcane juice is Egypt's national drink, so much so that every juice shop in Cairo sells asab, which is Arabic for sugarcane juice. Now, an enterprising business owner is attracting clients to his juice parlor by challenging customers to drink 12 liters of the sweetest concoction referred to as the drink that unites Egyptians.
What would you do to drive traffic to your business? Well, if you're Mohammed Mustafa Dawood, you would challenge people to drink 12 liters of Egypt's popular sugarcane juice to attract new customers and publicize for your business.
There is a big turnout. There is a daily competition. God willing, there will be a new competition next Thursday. I want people to drink sugarcane juice. Last time, the challenge was one person to finish one large jug to win 100 Egyptian pounds. In the new one, there will be 3 people.
The winner is usually given 100 Egyptian pounds and a loser would pay the same amount. The young shop owner who runs his family business, introduced a new challenge where a team of 3 would win free vouchers to drink sugarcane juice for 6 months if they finish 3 large jugs. Dawood's sugarcane challenge has turned the Albadizi Jewish shop into a battleground for enthusiastic competitors in the northern Egyptian city of Tanta.
I challenged myself to finish it, and I did it, thanks God. I think that anyone can finish this jug. I finished it. I welcome whoever is next.
The shop, which was opened in 1959, became popular only 4 years ago when the young university graduate came up with a challenge to attract customers. Dawood, who also holds a master's degree in economics, wants to entertain his customers.
It's a good publicity for the shop. The sugarcane juice is very popular in Tanta. It's really sweet. I hope it will be international for it to be known and famous all the time.
Sugarcane juice is popular drink in Egypt, with small shops selling the sweet treat scattered around the country. Egypt consumes 3 million tons of sugar a year, but produces just over 2 million tons, with the gap filled by government and private imports.
On Africa Focus, we love hearing from you, so make sure you get interactive with us on our various social media pages. Remember, you can view this program along with our wide array of other programs on DSTV channel 268. On behalf of the entire team here on Africa Focus, thank you for keeping us company on this exciting journey from north to south, east to the west of this great continent. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.